I'm Tiger Chainsaw, and this is an old ass. And this is a retro gamer, and you're watching the Old Ass Retro Gamer.
But the last thing you expected to see when you logged on tonight was Tiger Chainsaw's Bootay. Hey everybody, welcome to, what is this? Recent Pickup 74, everything I've added to my physical media collection in the way of movies and video games during February 2023. I see we got Happy Beard Games. What's up, Kevin? And we've got Peter from Waves and Games. Yeah. Welcome. I hope you enjoy this one. It's not going to be very long. February was kind of a rough month. Usually is. The short month. I don't know what it is. It's usually the short month for some reason. Like my finances go crazy. Don't ask me why. But a bunch of stuff that I had ordered in January came in this month. Still waiting on a few things. I don't know why. But didn't do a whole lot of shopping. Like, honestly, I wasn't really interested in like buying much for some reason. Like, I just I wasn't feeling it. I've been focusing on the D&D campaign and trying to write that. And I did buy a couple of things D&D related, but it's nothing I want to show off. It was just like a couple of packets of some figurines that we could use for combat and stuff. But yeah, picked up some games, not a lot of games, picked up some movies, not a whole lot of movies, but it's some cool stuff, I think. So might as well just get right into it. Just to make a little adjustment here. Oh, there we go. That was the last thing I Tiger Chainsaw. You should believe me, when he sent that to me, when I was doing the 31 days of licensed games, when he sent that to me, I was just kind of like, huh? What? And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. He's a silly guy. Seth is a silly guy. That's why we all like him. So let's get into the movies first. I got some cool stuff here. We'll start off with something video game related, even though it is a movie. I finally decided to go and pick up a copy of Dead Space Aftermath. If you aren't in the know, there were 2 Dead Space movies made to coincide with the release of the games. It was kind of like that merchandising campaign to bring attention to the first game and the second game coming out. So they do the multimedia thing like the Matrix did. When the Matrix Reloaded was coming out, they made the video game, they made the Animatrix, a comic book series. It was like they're trying to just assault you from all angles. Well, they were trying to do it with Dead Space too. So when the first game was coming out, they released one called... Ooh, can I remember the name of it? Downfall. And it's a prequel to the first game. Aftermath is a story that takes place between the first and second game, and it was released right before the second game was released. Nobody gave a shit about Dead Space 3, so we didn't get a movie for that. But these were animated films. They are violent as all hell. Obviously, they're based on Dead Space. And it continues the story of the characters that were left in the first film. I have not seen this one yet. I've only seen Downfall, but Church, the game grinder, swears by these movies, and I've kept on looking for this movie over the years. And I remember seeing copies of it at my local half-price books, but like when I would actually say, oh yeah, I should probably go and pick that up, it would be gone. Haven't really seen it since, probably before COVID. And then I just said, F it, just get it off of Amazon. And I did. It was like $20, so I said, why not? So I still need to watch this. It does have a trailer on it for Dead Space 2. So everyone's been in a Dead Space mood lately because the remake came out, which I still need to pick up, even though I'm focusing on RPGs this year. I'm going to be missing out on playing a whole lot of games so I can play a bunch of old RPGs. I'm still playing Phantasy Star. I'm maybe 40% through it. Picked up a couple of classics that I used to watch all the time when I was a kid. One of them is Transylvania 65000. I used to watch this every single time it was on cable. It's got a really good cast. It was one of Jeff Goldblum's first movies. Has Ed Begley Jr. It's also, I do believe, Gina Davis's first movie where she had like a major role, and she is hot as hell in this movie. You do not understand if you have not seen it. She is playing a vampire, sort of. And she is wearing the best dress ever made. And it shows just the right amount of things that you would like to see. It's awesome. Trust me. And it's a really funny movie. So I had totally forgotten about this. And then I want to say like 3 or 4 weeks ago, might have been in January, I fell asleep watching TV one night. I was watching something on Amazon, and it linked me to another movie when that movie ended. And since I wasn't there to say, no, I don't want to watch that, it started playing Transylvania 65000. And I woke up because I recognized the music because I remember watching this as a kid all the time. And I ended up sitting there and watching the entire movie, and I was just laughing the whole time. Stuart Little's mom, yes. And she is beyond smoking hot, dude. Trust me. It's on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, go and watch it. It's awesome. And it's funny. It's silly. So a couple of reporters who work for like the Inquirer hear a story about somebody in some Slovak. It was Transylvania. Derp. It's in the name. Being attacked by Frankenstein's monsters. So these two reporters get sent to Transylvania to write a story about it, and they uncover this whole thing. There's mummies, vampires, werewolves, and it's hysterical. Jeffrey Jones is in it. The guy that played Kramer on Seinfeld, Michael Richards, is in it. It's really, really funny. I enjoy it a lot. It is quite hysterical at times. And like I said, Gina Davis is... another one that I used to watch all the time as a kid is Sneakers. I was putzing around on Amazon one day, and I saw that this was like $6, so I picked up a copy. It's like a techno comedy thriller, I guess. It has a great cast, though. It's Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, Dan Aykroyd, Mary McConnell, River Phoenix, and David Strathairn. David Strathairn before he was a widely recognized actor. And Robert Redford works for this security company. He owns a security company that breaks into places and then tells the people whose business he has just broken into where their weaknesses lie and how they can fix them. Well, turns out he has a jacked up past, and it comes back to haunt him, and it involves like Russia and hacking the government and crazy stuff. But it's also kind of funny. Has a lot of really funny moments. I really enjoy it. And the like caper part of it is actually really cool. What's up, Mondane? How's it going? Yep, sexy vampire. Keep talking about it. I'm going to keep imagining it in my head, and I'm going to be happy the whole stream. I really enjoyed it. It's a great movie. Who is this by? Phil Alden Robinson. I remember back in the day when that came out in the early 90s, I was like, I don't remember that guy making many movies like that. It was kind of a strange thing. Another one that I used to watch all the time as a kid, and it probably wouldn't fly nowadays because of certain attitudes that have changed, but it's Men at Work. I had no idea this came out on Blu-ray. It randomly showed up like in my Facebook feed. I was just scrolling, and because I look up, MVD, which is a movie distribution company and stuff like that, Shot Factory, Scream Factory, it brought up, who is this? Yeah, MVD. That they were releasing this, and I was like, oh shit, I remember watching that all the time. I used to have a good time watching it too. It's Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. Emilio Estevez actually directed this. It's a comedy about a couple of garbage men who get caught up in like a political assassination, and it's like it's like a comedy of like errors where people just keep on doing the exact wrong thing at the wrong time kind of stuff. And there's some jokes that probably would not go over well. There's some things that Charlie Sheen's character in particular does towards his female neighbor across the street that is not cool. But outside of that, it is actually a very funny film. I need to check this out. I haven't seen it in probably over a decade. But Keith David, if you know Keith David, he was at the beginning of There's Something About Mary, he was the dad of Ben Stiller's date that said that, how did he get the beans above the Frank? He's in it. He plays a Vietnam War vet with PTSD that's assigned to watch the two garbage men leads. And he is constantly having like Vietnam flashbacks towards things that happen on their route. And it's kind of weird that they made fun of PTSD type of stuff, but the stuff that happens and the stuff that comes out of his mouth is really funny. Okay, so that's it for like standard Blu-ray stuff. I did get a bunch of 4Ks. For starters, I upgraded my copy of Akira, the first anime that I ever saw this is what got me into anime right here. Like, you have no idea. Saw this sitting on the shelf at my local mom and pop video store, had no idea what it was. I was just like, oh, look, an animated movie, and it's rated R. Last animated movie that I saw that was rated R was probably Heavy Metal, and that's pretty cool. Let's see what this is all about. Oh my god, I was not prepared for what was about to flash before my eyes. Holy crap. Post-apocalyptic Japan, psychic powers, people exploding, motorcycle gang wars. It's awesome. It is so good. The animation is fantastic. The story's cool, except this was based off of a manga that was still ongoing at the time the movie was made, so kind of like Game of Thrones. They had to come up with an ending to end the movie when the comic series hadn't even ended yet. So it kind of has a weird ending compared to where the comic ended up going. But it's fantastic. Animation, I think, is absolutely top-notch, and it still holds up. This came out like in the late 80s, I do believe, but kicked off my love of anime, at least when I loved it in the early to mid-90s. So I had to get that. I just hope it has one of the reasons I've held off so long getting this was like the same thing that happened with my Fist of the North Star and the Professional, Golgo 13, the Professional that I talked about last month. I was hoping that this would have the original dub track that I remember from back in the day. And I don't know if it has it. I'm hoping it does, but even if it doesn't, that's okay. Yeah, lots of culture shock. Yep. Another one I had to buy was a classic. I hit up the Kino Lorber website, ordered a bunch of stuff. One big thing, for some reason, has not shipped. I bought it at the end of January, and it still hasn't shown up. I need to contact them and ask them what the hell's going on. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. What the hell's going on? One of the things I got was Spaceballs. Absolutely love this movie, but I was talking about this with some people that I work with. We're talking about when you would go and see a movie in the theater when you were a kid, like going to see it at a dollar theater. Those aren't a thing anymore. There were these second run theaters where movies that had been playing for a little while, the theater owners would sell the prints to a second run theater for dirt cheap, and that way that's the reason why the theaters could charge $1 for the movie, but you're paying out the ass for concessions. And whenever it was a movie that my parents wanted to see, we would go to the full price theater. When it was a movie that my brother and I wanted to see, we had to wait for the second run theater. And this was one of those movies. My parents had no interest, even though they're both sci-fi fans, one of them was, since he's not with us anymore. But my mother and my father were sci-fi fans, and they loved Mel Brooks movies, but they did not want to go and see this. So we had to wait for the dollar theater. And I remember just crying from laughing so hard. Probably one of the first parody movies that I had seen back in the day where I actually had seen the movies that it was making fun of. Or one of Mel Brooks' movies or a parody movie was making fun of. I saw Airplane, have never seen any of those airport movies. I saw I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. I never saw a blaxploitation movie when I saw that. Have seen all the movies that this is making fun of, though. Planet of the Apes, Star Wars, Star Trek, all that kind of stuff. So absolutely thrilled to own this in 4K. I hear the transfer is fantastic, and it has a lot of really cool extras on here, but I think most of them have been ported over from other releases. Spaceballs, the documentary. Hell yeah. Also from Kino Lorber, I upgraded my copy of Misery. I had a copy of this from Screen Factory, Blu-ray, but all of those extras got ported over to the 4K version too. So I don't think anything was specifically made for that Screen Factory release. So I didn't feel bad about porting this over since I was going to get the same stuff just with a better picture and sound quality. But horror movie based off of a Stephen King story about a writer who crashes his car out in the middle of nowhere, is rescued by this woman who lives by herself out in the woods. Turns out she's a huge fan of his books that he writes and wants him to stay there until he writes a new book, bringing the character that he killed off in those books she loves, or write a new book where that character is not dead. And she basically tortures him and keeps him captive until he writes exactly what she expects him to do. And it's really good. It's not, I wouldn't say it's scary. It's tense. It's suspenseful, but it's not like a horror movie. It's more like a thriller. I'm sure all of you have seen it. And then we get into the somewhat newer stuff. Picked up a copy of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So I have not enjoyed a lot of the recent Marvel movies, starting with let me think. Thor, Love and Thunder. Wasn't a fan of Thor, Love and Thunder. Wasn't a fan of Eternals. Wasn't a fan of this one. Wasn't a fan of the new Ant-Man movie. I'm trying to think if there was another one in between. So it's like at least of the new crop of like Phase 4 films, there was a like this is the first time where I can actually say like there wasn't just one out of them. Like in Phase 2, the only one I didn't like was Thor 2. I didn't really like. I liked everything. I think in Phase 3. Well, no, I didn't really like more Captain Marvel all that much. But like Phase 4 was just weird because it didn't have any focus. I felt it's like they're just setting up new characters. They're doing all the TV show. It felt like they were focusing more on the TV show side of things than the movies because the movies, at least 3 of them from Phase 4 felt very unfocused and unnecessary. And it's just like they're setting up things for later movies down the line and just wasting a lot of our time. And this I thought was a real disappointment. I really loved the first Black Panther, and I was really excited about this, even though the fact that Chadwick Boseman, who I loved as T'Challa, passed away. So the other reason I wanted to see this, I was really excited, was like, how are they going to address that in the movie? And the way they do is great. It's just sad that his co-stars can't lead the movie. It needed Chadwick Boseman to be there. So I'm sitting there watching the movie going like, if you were filming the movie and you saw the way things were playing out, time to rethink things. Maybe it is a good idea to recast or something, because no one in this movie can lead, like, except for Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett is fantastic in this, and she deserves the Oscar nominations that she's been getting. But like Letitia Wright can't carry a movie. If it focused more on God, I almost called her the Nabushe Wright from Blade. God damn it, what's her freaking name? Lupita Nyong'o, who played Black Panther's girlfriend in the first movie. She can carry a movie. If it was about her, I would have been like, okay, fine. But Letitia Wright, honestly, in my opinion, she can't. And I think the movie suffered for it. I did not like Namor at all. I like the angle they went with it, with like the Aztec kind of thing, the Mayan-ish type stuff. But the actor that played him, I didn't like. I didn't like just the storyline with him and all that. I didn't care for any of it, really. I was just like, this is like a big misfire for me. It had a lot of potential, and it just felt like Boseman dying just kind of like threw everyone's plans out the window, and no one knew how to recover. So like it's a very big missed opportunity. So I had to pick it up because I own all the Marvel movies and, going to keep up the trend, even if I don't really like it. I mean, I think Eternals is one of the worst Marvel movies that they've made, and I own a copy of it. So you saw Lords of Dogtown? I've never seen Robot Carnival. I know of it. I've wanted to see it. I just never gotten around to do it. I hear Mighty Q Dog talking about him. He always gets like these 4K presses that won't work. I guess it depends on what you're playing it on. I don't have a dedicated 4K player. I use my PS5. I used to use my Xbox One X, and I would have issues every once in a while with something. Like it would be like, I don't recognize this disc. And then I would take it out, wipe it off, put it back in, and it would usually play. But I've had no problems playing any of my discs in my PS5 at all. So maybe it's the Xbox One X isn't a great player, because I think that's what Q-Dog uses. So it could just be the player. I've never had like a bad disc. I've never had one at all. Movie Boss. By the way, Peter, congratulations on the movie. I love Doctor Strange. I loved Multiverse of Madness. Absolutely loved it. That's probably my favorite movie from Phase 4. Yeah, PS5 plays 4K. That's how I watch all my 4Ks. Yeah, this is like, it just feels like they're not focused at all. Like the problem I had with the new Ant-Man was it didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie. It felt like a commercial. Like Ant-Man, I mean, don't get me wrong, Paul Rudd's really good in the movie. He's really trying, and I love Jonathan Majors as Kang. He is awesome. They just didn't write a good movie. It felt like a commercial for Phase 5 and 6. Like, we're setting up all these things, guys. I wanted to watch an Ant-Man movie because I love both Ant-Man movies. except the new one, because it just felt like overstuffed and there's too much crap going on. It was just a CG fest, and yeah, MODOK sucked. Don't be a dick. It's like, what? Anyway, shifting away from Marvel to DC, I upgraded my copy of Batman Assault on Arkham. I did not realize that this older DC animated movie had been upgraded. I went to Best Buy. I got to complain about Best Buy too in a minute. I went to Best Buy and I found this still with the sleeve on it sitting there, and I was just kind of like, oh, actually, I think that was one of the ones I really enjoyed. I'll pick it up, because I think even though it just came out, it got re-released, it was only like $14.95. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll pick it up. And yeah, I haven't watched this version of it yet. I need to, though. And at the same time, I picked up a copy of the newest DC animated movie, and that is Legion of Superheroes. So the night that I bought this, I popped it in and I watched it, and I really did not like it. I honestly was very disappointed. So the whole idea of this is that it focuses on Supergirl, who I do enjoy as a character. And she has just come from Argo City. She's trying to be a superhero with Superman, but she has like no discipline. She's basically running around like some spoiled little brat, just not caring that when she's fighting a supervillain, she's destroying shit. So Superman's like, well, we need to get you trained. I have the perfect idea. I'm going to send you into the future. Huh? He sends her to like 300 or 400 years into the future, because he's had contact with these people before, so he has like this teleporter thing that can open a portal between our time and that time, and he like drops her off there to be trained by a bunch of superheroes from the future. Like there's like the JSA or I don't think it was the JLA. I think it was the JSA, and they have like a bunch of new recruits, and he wants to throw Kara in with them. And when the reason I don't like this is the way they portray Supergirl in this, because it's cliche and bullshit in this day and age kind of thing. So she gets there and she's like, stop with my tongue. She's like, dude, I don't want to be here. This is bullshit. Why don't you just train me? You're my freaking cousin. Justice League Dark is awesome. I absolutely love it. Both Dark ones. And there's a new one coming out too, I think. She's like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Why don't you just train me? He's like, no, I'm going to drop you off here. And she's like, no, I want to come with you. I want to come back home with you. And then all of a sudden, Mon-El, who is another, I don't think he's from Krypton, but he's from one of the moons of Krypton, flies by. She goes, ew, he's hot. I think I'll stay. And I was like, really? We're still doing this in 2023? So it just annoyed me to the point where I was like, I don't even give a shit about what's going on in this movie. And I mean, there's some cool stuff. There's a lot of cool action in it. Some of the characters have cool powers that we haven't seen before in a couple of other, like in most superhero movies and stuff. But outside of that, it's like, who cared? I was not into it. I was disappointed. But now we got another kind of superhero movie. So the only reason I bought this was because I got into a mood. Okay. One of the media, like movie, 4K and Blu-ray channels I watch on YouTube, one of them is Serial at Midnight. And he received a copy of this for a giveaway. And he went on Twitter and he was like, hey, like my page or like my profile, retweet this and tell me why you want this movie or what memories you have of this movie. And I was like, oh, I forgot that's coming out on 4K. I don't know if I actually want to spend money on it. So maybe winning it in a contest would be the way to go. So I did everything he asked. And my comment was, it is the worst or the most awesome shitty movie or something to that effect. I'm like, it's an awesome shitty movie. And I didn't win. Someone else won. But I got it stuck in my head that I wanted to, I was like, oh, I'm going to be able to watch this movie and it's going to be horribly awesome and all that. And then I didn't win. I was like, oh, that sucks. Still want to watch it though. I'll just buy a copy of my own. That's The Return of Swamp Thing. This is a terrible movie. I kind of enjoy the original Swamp Thing that Wes Craven made in the early 80s. And then I don't remember that movie being a hit. But somehow a sequel got greenlit like 6 or 7 years later. I think this came out like in 88. And it has Heather Locklear in it and Louis Jourdan, who was the villain in the first one. And it is bad, like bad. Although the suit from for the Swamp Thing is much better. Same guy plays him. What's that dude's name? Dick Durock played him in both movies. It is just if you think Batman and Robin is a freaking cheese fest, you have not seen Return of Swamp Thing. It is like eye-rollingly bad. But it also is kind of like charming because it's so bad, and it's funny because it's so bad, and it's like entertaining because it's so bad. And yeah, I remember watching it on cable a lot. Whenever it was on, I would just like have it on in the background. It was something to listen to. And it's like breezy, crappy fun. So I was kind of like, yeah, sure. For the memories of watching this all the time from my childhood, yeah, I'll just buy a copy. Funny thing is, you'll see these two kids on the back here. The little short one, the little redheaded one, is a filmmaker now, and my brother was the editor on his movie that he released called "It's Just a Game," and I hear it is not good. But yeah, I was thrilled to own that again. I never thought I would own a copy of Return of Swamp. When I was collecting VHS tapes back in the day, and I would go to like stores and buy all their cheap ass duplicates that they were selling, I was never in the market to buy a copy of that. But why not? Also at Best Buy, I went kind of crazy at Best Buy. I got my bonus from the beginning of the year, so that's the reason why a lot of these are in my collection now, is because of the bonus. But I upgraded my copy of Bubba Hotep onto 4K. This is from Scream Factory. It's a movie by Don Coscarelli, who did the Phantasm movies and Beastmaster. Bruce Campbell plays Elvis, who is in an old age home with what's his name? Ozzie Davis. You'll see him on the back there right next to Bruce Campbell. Ozzie Davis, who thinks he's JFK. He's like, oh, the government took my brain out and put a sack of rocks back in there. And like Elvis is always complaining about how he's got like a boil on his dick. Like, I got a boil on my pecker, man. And like this ancient Egyptian mummy stakes a claim on the retirement home and starts killing all of the retirees to like suck their soul out so he can feed. And Elvis decides, he and JFK decide that they're going to take this thing on. It's weird. I think it's based on a book. But it's weird and silly and very funny. Like, I think this movie is hysterically funny. So, and the other thing I like is I have an uncle on my mom's side that I'm not really a fan of, who is an Elvis impersonator. And every time I bring this movie up to him, he gets like angry, like beyond angry. So the little kid in me loves teasing him about this movie. I'm like, that movie's awesome. That's bullshit. Watch 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Really? I'm not watching Kevin Costner try to pretend to be Elvis. Rather watch Bruce Campbell do it, because Bruce Campbell's 10 times the actor Kevin Costner is. Eat a dick. Also, while I was there, I had really no intention of adding this to my collection, but I found this. It was slightly discounted, and it's a steelbook. But this is also from Scream Factory. They released Carrie on 4K, and that steelbook is rad looking, dude. Like, I love it. Like the skull and her standing in front of it. It's almost like the sunrise, but it's the fire from the school, and I just love it. I thought it was cool. That was what caught my eye. The price was the other thing, and it's a steelbook is the third. Stephen King, again, another Stephen King story. I think it was one of his first novels, about a young girl in high school with psychic powers that are developing along with like her puberty or whatever, because like it coincides with her having her first period, or the emergence of the powers coincide with her having her first period. And, she's abused by her mom. She's abused by kids at school. And it's like her coming to terms with things, in two different ways and failing miserably, because at the end she just loses her shit. And it's really cool. I like it a lot. John Travolta, Sissy Spacek, Nancy Allen, and Brian De Palma directed this. It's awesome. I love it. So I had to get a copy of that. And then this is another upgrade, but it's an awesome upgrade. Never thought this would be on 4K, but what the hell? So I got this from Vinegar Syndrome. I originally had a Scream Factory Blu-ray special edition, but Vinegar Syndrome does some cool shit. So I think it showed up in my email. It was like, oh, here are the new releases for so-and-so month from Vinegar Syndrome. And I always scroll through those just to see if there's anything that catches my eye. And I'll usually just keep track of it. And I'll be like, oh, I got to remember that's coming out this month, but this one is a movie that I love so much. I was like, I immediately pre-ordered. I was sitting in bed. I just woke up in the morning, saw it on my phone, and I pre-ordered it immediately. And that is H.P. Lovecraft's From Beyond. If you've never seen this movie, it is one of the most gonzo, crazy-ass movies. If you liked Color Out of Space, you're going to love this. It is absolutely nuts. Made by Charles Band, who does Full Moon now, but back then he was Empire Entertainment. This was one of the bigger budgeted movies that he made. It stars Jeffrey Combs, who I think is an acting god, Barbara Crampton, Ken Foree from the original Dawn of the Dead. And it's about these scientists who have created this machine that stimulates your pineal gland, and when that happens, it lets you see into a different dimension. It also lets those creatures cross over into ours because it's also affecting them. So you can see them, they can see you, and you can interact with them when this machine is on. I think it's called the Resonator. And it just turns into this whole big, epic H.P. Lovecraftian tentacle, thing. And it's crazy. Have you seen Cast a Deadly Spell? Is that the one that was an HBO movie with Fred Ward? Because I think that's the one you're talking about. But I have seen that. I wish that was on video. I think I used to have a DVD of it. But yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. It has amazing practical creature effects. The music is really cool by Richard Band. It's amazing. It's gory and graphic as all hell. Eventually, your pineal gland, if you stimulate it enough, it'll just pop out of your freaking skull and hang out like a little snake head in front of your head. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. So when I saw the 4K coming out, like I said, I immediately pre-ordered it. And man, does this have extras? Like my Blu-ray from Scream Factory had a decent amount of extras. I want to say maybe 8. Additional stuff. All this. Holy shit. Yeah, I upgraded. I'm happy that I did. And then I pre-ordered this on Amazon, and it finally showed up. And I did not think it was going to come in this big-ass box, because most of their movies are just like a DVD case, a little slightly thicker, regular old Blu-ray case. Sorry, Blu-ray case. But Criterion Collection. And I bought Dazed and Confused, and it comes in this thick-ass box. I don't know if it comes with extra stuff, but let's do a little unboxing and find out why this thing is so goddamn big. Come here, garbage can. So it has a bunch of holes in the cover so you can see the pictures of the characters and whatnot. And I'm assuming when you pull this out, it reveals something else, which is kind of cool. This movie had a massive amount of stars before there were anybody. I remember Mila Jovovich, Matthew McConaughey, Jason. Was it Jason London? I think it was Jason London, not Jeremy London. Doesn't even say the names of the actors on here. Man, how dare you. Rory Cochrane. Oh, Jesus. It's a ton. Oh, that's why it's like this. Okay. Oh, shit. Wow, what the hell? And the disc is loose. That's fantastic. Thanks. So it has a Blu-ray and a 4K, and the Blu-ray has been remastered from the 4K master. And then you have the 4K version. So you got 2 of those in this, like, digipack thing. But it came with a bunch of extras. And I'm assuming this is a poster, because it's a poster. Oh, the dude who played Parker Posey is in this. Is that who I think it is? Renee Zellweger? God. The guy, he was in, I don't remember his name, but he was in Saving Private Ryan. He was the guy who got stabbed by the German soldier in the stairwell while that cowardly guy just sat there and watched. Anthony Rapp, who's on Star Trek Discovery. Yeah, there's a lot of people that were in this before there were anybody. So this is like one of Richard Linklater's first movies. And it also comes with this big, thick-ass book, which I'm assuming is just a bunch of like set photos and stuff. Maybe an essay? Yeah, maybe an essay or 2. Cool. I have not had a Criterion Collection disc like this before, so this is awesome. Like I said, usually it's just maybe you get like a thick little book inside that just has like some words from the director or whatever, but it's just a standard, like a little slightly thicker Blu-ray case, but not like something like this. So this is kind of neat. I have not watched this movie in probably 25 years. So I wanted to pick it up so I could in the best way possible. So hell yeah. And it has a ton of extras on it too. Making Dazed and Confused, audio commentaries, tons of deleted footage, because I can imagine the amount of deleted footage because it felt like it was all ad-libbed, but whatever. And the last movie I have, well, movies, is a set, and that is the Daniel Craig 007 collection. The only movie I had in 4K was No Time to Die, the newest Bond movie. And I was like, I like, out of the 5 movies that Daniel Craig did in this series, I like 3 of them. 2 of them I could do without. But since I like 3 out of the 5, I figured this would be a good investment instead of buying them all separately. And it was, because I got this on discount. Like, this was usually like $90 or something like that on Amazon. And it got discounted to like $49.95. And I was like, okay, now's the time. So I picked it up. So this has Casino Royale, the unrated version of Casino Royale. Was not aware of that. I need to see what that is immediately. Quantum of Solace, which I'm not a fan of. Also the shortest Bond movie ever made. Skyfall, which is probably my favorite Bond movie ever made. Spectre, which is, I think, one of the other worst Bond movies I've ever seen. And then No Time to Die, which is the final one with Daniel Craig, which is the newest one that came out like a year ago. So, yeah, all 5 of them in one set. Pretty awesome. Thought Daniel Craig was a great Bond, even though some of the movies that he was in were kind of stinky. But whatevs. Had to have that. So I wanted to talk about Best Buy real quick. So last month I was talking about how exciting it was for me to actually like go into a store nowadays and start finding things that I didn't know were available, like I used to back in the 90s or whatever, the early 2000s, when you would go to a store and you didn't know what you were going to find, and then you'd find something awesome. Every time I would go to Best Buy by my work and looking for like a specific movie, like I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go look for the new Black Panther movie. And then I'd be like walking around looking what else they had. And I'd be like, when did this happen? When did this happen? What? Oh, I got to have this. And it was just really fun to have that happen again, because it hasn't been happening a lot lately, because the Half Price Books by my work that I would go to and always finding awesome stuff there has like absolutely nothing now. I've been doing most of my shopping on Amazon and eBay and stuff like that. So it's just really, really fun to go to a physical place and have that stuff happen again that I remember from back in the day. Well, Best Buy had other plans, because they just randomly decided to institute this new club thing where it's like you pay $100 a year, and it's kind of like Amazon Prime, where it's like you get this club. Everything you buy on the website is free shipping if you're part of this club thing. And you have like discounts on certain things. But the thing is, if you're not a part of that club, everything else is jacked up in price. And I am not kidding. So if you want to pay the price that you would normally pay for a Blu-ray or a 4K, like Blu-rays are average $29.99, right? If you want to pay $29.99 for that new Black Panther movie, you have to have that club. If you don't have that, you're going to pay $39.95 or $39.99. They jack the prices up to make you want to buy this stupid club thing. And it's on the website too. It's fucking criminal. It's bullshit. So I'm like, I guess I'm going back to buying at Amazon, because the day that these movies come out, I usually get them for even cheaper than what they normally go for. I was just happy to be able to go to a store and find stuff physically. I guess I'm not going to Best Buy anymore, because now they're trying to be fucking crooks. Yeah, Suncoast, all that kind of stuff. I used to love that. But can't really do that anymore. And now Best Buy is making it impossible, because they're just being greedy as all hell. I am not paying $40 for a 4K that I can get for $24.99 either at Target or on Amazon. So I guess I'm going to Target, which has no movies now at all, basically, unless you want to count that rack by the registers at the front. Just made me mad. I was like, I thought I had found something fun, and now it's been taken away because of greed. So eat a dick, Best Buy. Anyway, now we can get into the games. Not many games, but one cool thing did show up in my mail, and that is Brett Weiss's new book, The 100 Greatest Console Video Games, 1988 to 1998. And I was sent this for free because I'm in it. So Brett asked me if I was interested in writing not like a couple of little blurbs for some of the games that he was going to talk about. He wanted me to write essays, like full-on stories about certain games. So he sent me a list of ones that hadn't been, of games that he wanted to talk about in here that hadn't been claimed yet. So I picked some of the off ones. And Mondan's going to love this. One of them was Tempest 2000, and the other one was Wing Commander 3 on the 3DO. So right here, Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger. Written by, I don't know if you can see it, written by Christopher, old-ass retro gamer. So this whole thing is me. And then we've got keep going. There's Truxton, Tomb Raider, Toe Jam, Tetris, Tempest 2000, and that's my other one. So as a thank you, Brett sends people who contribute to his novels. He sends you a free copy. He wants us to like review it on our YouTube channels or whatever. But I don't think it's fair because I'm obviously biased because I'm in it. But I will say that I have read a lot of the other contributors' stories and essays, and it's fantastic. This is a great book. Why a certain lunk-headed YouTuber out there wants to just start acting like a douche and like bad-mouthing Brett for no reason other than professional jealousy escapes me. Because I would rather buy one of Brett's books over one of his books any day of the week. So anyway, rant over in two different ways. Ghost of Tsushima for $10, you got a deal. I have been looking for discounted copies of that since I got my PS5, and I finally found one for $30, I think, on Black Friday. So when it comes to games, I actually bought some retro stuff, like retro, like really, really retro, like Atari 2600 retro. So I had been playing some of my old Atari 2600 games on my, I broke out my Retron 77, and I was playing some of my retro games, and I was like, I really, miss playing these simple games. So I was like, there's some games that I still am missing from my collection from the ones that I had as a kid that I used to love playing. So I was like, I'm going to go check out eBay, see if I can find anything. And I found them. I found a couple of them, plus one that just randomly caught my eye, and I was like, what? Yeah, I can't stand that guy. I cannot stand him. He is like entitlement incarnate. Like, I just can't stand him. Thinks he's the shit. And I'm like, have you really watched your content? Not that I say my content's good, but his, like, he thinks it's awesome, but it's not. And he's a terrible person. Anyway, one of them was Snake. And that cover art is the shit. This guy is shooting a laser into a giant snake's mouth when he's playing through, and he's moving like through a giant erector set. That is the coolest artwork ever. This is from Data Age, which was one of those developers that I really liked back in the day. I still like now. I would love to get all of the games that they released, as well as Magic, but that's going to be kind of hard because a couple of them are beyond expensive. But this is, it's hard to describe. It's kind of like playing Pac-Man, but you have a gun. So you have like this maze of like dots, and you can move between the dots, and they're like horizontal and vertical, and the snake is moving through them. And you have to like shoot, and it's kind of like playing Centipede. So as the snake moves between the dots like you have to like shoot him and try to break it up into parts until there's nothing left. Kill it, move on to the next section. Sometimes other insects or birds or stuff will come in too. It was really fun. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a very fun game back in the day. I played the crap out of it. So I was like, Snake was one of those ones that I played all the time. Got to have it. The other one is a licensed game. Fantastic Voyage. Yeah, this is based on that movie that came out in the 60s where a bunch of people got shrunk into microscopic size and injected into some guy that had a brain aneurysm so they could try to fix him from the inside. Donald Pleasance was in it. It's a very cool movie. I think it's based on a book. My dad bought this one back in the day, and I remember playing it a lot. And it's like playing... It's like a shmup. It's like playing River Raid almost because it's vertical. And you can kind of see the little picture that they have on the back there. It's a shmup, and you're shooting at like blood clots and stuff that are coming at you and all that kind of stuff. And it's fun. It's neat. This is also one of those 20th Century Fox releases that has the weird-ass packaging that won't fit inside a box protector, but it has like this tab on the side that you have to pull out, and then you pull out this tray. That has the game in it, and the game looks brand spanking new. Like, it is nice. And it even came with the manual, which looks pretty decent too. I think this got crushed a little bit in the mail because when I got it, the box was kind of like pushed in the back, and the back of the box has been pushed in a little bit. You can kind of see. So it's been damaged slightly, but, you know, whatever. This game is like 40-some years old, so I'm not going to complain. Get back in there. Go back to your home. Yeah, this box is falling apart. I got some glue tape I can use to fix it. Get in there. Get in there. Go back to your home. Whatever, I'll fix you later. I think I put it back in backwards. Whatevs. So I had to get that. Because I remember playing that back in the day also. And then this randomness. Desert Eagle. I think that's the one that I have, don't I? Is that the one that I picked up randomly when I was coming back from GameCon, wasn't it? Desert Eagle? I think so. This is another one of those late release. I keep on finding these late release Atari games lately. Within the last year, I picked up, I think, 3 of them. And I did not know this existed. And the artwork on the cover was what got my attention, and I've never heard of the title. And then when it showed up, I read the back, and the back, I'm going to read it to you all, is one of the most WTF things you'll ever read in your life. So it's called Off the Wall. So look at that. So you've got this paper samurai looking guy. You've got the Great Wall of China. And then you've got a giant dragon at the top who's hanging out on a breakout wall or a Arkanoid type of brick breaking wall. Okay. And that's kind of what the game is. You're playing as a samurai who is throwing this brick, trying to break through the Great Wall of China so he can get at this dragon. So here's the description on the back. You can kind of see the pictures where you have like the different patterns of bricks you need to break at the top of the screen, and you can see a little samurai guy down here at the bottom. But here's the description. I'll try to keep the box in frame so you can see it. Some say the legend of Grandmaster Kung Fu Lu is centuries old. It begins soon after the Great Wall of China was erected. Near the new wall stood an old ugly wall in which spirits lived. The people wanted to tear the evil wall down, but were afraid. Kung Fu Lu was a young lad then, who had been granted 5 lives. One day a mystical dragon appeared on the old wall and threw a ball directly at him. Lu swung his walking stick and smashed the ball back. Bricks shattered and magical objects bearing good fortune and special powers fell from the wall. Kung Fu Lu tried to catch as many as he could. Lu discovered that the battle for wealth and fortune has a very costly price. If he missed the ball with his stick, and he lost one of his lives, and guarding the wall was a cunning blackbird whose task was to prevent Kung Fu Lu from smashing those bricks. Patient Lu tried again and again to shatter the bricks. Persistence pays, and eventually he became skillful in destroying the brick wall. He moved through all 4 difficult challenges to gain the honorable position of master. The legend tells us only those who have fortitude and determination can ever match the brilliance of Grandmaster Kung Fu Lu. Are you one of the chosen? For 1 or 2 players. It's like, what? Did a 5-year-old write that? Because like the way the sentences are all broken up and stuff, I was like, huh? Okay. Anyway, like it's a breakout clone, Arkanoid type of clone with like the samurai angle. What? At least they try to make a story. Is it really, though? Is it really a story? But it's like also the mix of styles on the cover. It's like you've got like this artwork and this random picture that looks like somebody cut out of a magazine, pasted on top. And black and white at that. It's like, huh? Had to have it because I was just kind of like, that looks insane. And it turns out it is. Now we're going to get into more modern things. I picked up a new... You might be able to answer my question about this, Mondane. For the PS3, since I'm doing the RPG thing this year, I picked up a copy of Tales of Grace's F. Is this a sequel or like a special like add-on edition of Tales? Isn't there a Tales of Grace's? And is F like the sequel, or is it like the expanded edition or something? Because I have a feeling like this is like an extra version of one of these games. But yeah, RPG in the big Tales of series. There's too many games in this series to play through in 1 year. I'm not going to even try. I might try to play one of them. I might play the newest one. Tales of... I don't remember the name of it, but I have it for the PS1. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I can't really comment. Have not played it. But I got this dirt cheap off of Amazon, of all places. So yeah, there's that. If anybody knows if any of my assumptions is correct, then let me know. These I got off of Amazon. Excuse me. I got gas. So I got the hiccups again. I haven't had anything to eat in hours or drink. So one of the things I've been doing recently is I've been trying to not like shrink my collection, but like if I have doubles of something, I don't need it. If I have like a game on a newer console that gives like quality of life improvements and I have the game on another console, I'll get rid of the old version in lieu of the new. And that's what's happening here. I was watching the Mighty Q Dog and Mrs. Q Dog do one of their they don't do pickup videos very often. But usually when they do, they have some cool stuff. And Mighty Q Dog picked this up for the same reason that I wanted to pick it up. We're talking Death Smiles 1 and 2. I have the original Death Smiles, like that special edition that came in that big, long box for the 360. It came with like a faceplate for the front of your 360. Well, I don't have one of the original 360s. I have the second one, like the... what do they call it? The Slim 360, not the Super Slim. Those are terrible. The Slim model, like the second model. So it doesn't fit. And also, it's a big box on one of my shelves that I don't need because I don't really care about this game that much that I want to keep this big-ass box. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just get this Death Smiles 1 and 2. I can sell off that box 360 one that I have. And there we go. So these are cave shmups. I've played the first one in the arcade at Midwest Gaming Classic, no less. This has like another version of a Death Smiles game on it, I think. Actually it has 3 games on it. I can't be sure. But yeah, they're like horizontally scrolling cave shmups that are like bullet helly, but they're really fun. I beat the shit out of the first one when I first got my Slim. I was like, I want to play all these games that I've been buying that I haven't been able to play because my Red Ring Xbox 360, I couldn't play shit on it. And I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. So not mad that this came out because I've never played part 2, so now I can. And have the first one on it and get some trophies. It's called Consolidate. I knew that. Also picked this up. Captain Algebra played this on stream in January, and I was like, when did that happen? I need it. I've been waiting for a physical edition of this to come out for years, and it finally did. And that is Cuphead. Originally, this was like an Xbox exclusive, and then eventually it went to the Switch, and then it came to the PS4, but it was just all digital. I think they got a physical on the Switch, but we didn't get a PS4 one until recently. So absolutely had to get this because I love a good shmup, even if it is super freaking hard like these are. This one's all about patterns, but I love the art style. It's like that 1920s, 1930s animation style, and they even put like film artifacts and grain and stuff to make it look like it's the genuine article. And I absolutely have to have this in a physical form. I do have it digital. The only reason I have the digital is because I won the digital code on a Game Beaters live stream, and the prize was digital code for this. So I played it a little bit, and I really liked it. I liked the way it was all set up, and like the map, the overworld map that you have to go through to the different stages and stuff, and it was just really, really fun. So super thrilled that this finally got a physical edition. I was expecting, of all people, Limited Run to release it, but who ended up? Studio, I don't know. I Am 8-Bit put this out. I Am 8-Bit. Yep. Steamboat Willie. Hell yeah. And I got a fart. You're welcome. Also picked this up. I didn't realize this. I think I just forgot that this had come out. But I picked up a copy of Psychonauts 2. This is the Motherload edition, and this has like a lithograph or cover, which is pretty awesome. Love it. And the game itself is just standard. But I really enjoyed. I didn't like the original Psychonauts on the Xbox back in the day. I did not like it for some reason, but it's like a 3D platformer, kind of like Mario 64. But like over the years, I've grown to really enjoy it. So when they announced that there was a Psychonauts 2, which it was going to be an Xbox One exclusive also, was coming out, I was like, oh, cool. I have an Xbox One. I can play it. I never bought it. So eventually it got ported over. I guess the licensing agreement for making it an exclusive ran out. So now it's on the PS4, and I put it right next to my copy of Psychonauts that I got from Limited Run Games. But yeah, another 3D open world platformer looking thing. So got to have it. Got to have it. Need to play through the original one again. And then these last 3 games are from Limited Run. I kind of remembered what these 2 were, but this one, it was like, what is this again? Like, Limited Run now, it almost takes 9 months, maybe 10 months for you to get the stuff you order. It used to take maybe 3 or 4, but now it's like almost a year. So I forgot what a couple of these were, or this one specifically. So the one that I couldn't remember what it was is called Astalon Tears of the Earth. And when I opened up the box, I was just like, what is this one? I don't remember. And then I looked at the back. I'm like, oh, Metroidvania. That's why I bought it. So it's an old school 8-bit looking Metroidvania, and I love me a good Metroidvania. Recently beat Bloodstained on the PS4, and I absolutely loved it. Got the good ending with Miriam. Now there's other characters I can play through it as, and there's even the character from Child of Light, from what I understand, is available now. So I've been in a Metroidvania mood. Sad thing is I can't really play them because I'm trying to play all these goddamn RPGs. So happy about this once I remembered what the hell it was. These 2, I remembered what they were. One of them is River City Girls 0. Had to have it because it's by my peeps at Way Forward. So this is a beat-em-up prequel to the original River City Girls. I do believe this is connected to the River City Ransom series. Just features female characters. But they're not like that chibi version anymore. They don't look like the Kunio-kun characters from the NES days. But yeah, awesome beat 'em up series. I played the first one. I really enjoyed it. So there is the 0, the prequel, and also a part 2 that I have ordered through Limited Run that has not arrived yet. Get your asses in gear, guys. Come on. 10 months is bullshit. So had to have that to complete the collection because of part 2 also. And the last game is Soul Cresta Dramatic Edition. Soul Cresta is a vertically scrolling shmup, and I remember playing Soul Cresta in the arcades back in the day, and I think it was at a Chuck E. Cheese. Nintendo, I think, owned a coin-op of this. He had like an arcade cabinet that he picked up off of like Facebook Marketplace or something, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. And I remember he did like a video showing it off that he had it like next to his kitchen. And I was just kind of like, that's pretty awesome. I haven't played Soul Cresta in forever. Well, they released like this remastered version of it, or remade or whatever. So it is modern version of Soul Cresta now, and I'm all for it because I love me a good shmup. To me, shmups are like a good like palate cleanser in between like long form games like Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West or whatever, and Spider-Man and all the long games that I play. And then you play something like this, which is just short and sweet. Boo! Terra Cresta was the first game. Terra Cresta? Maybe that's the one that Joel had. Yeah, maybe Terra Cresta. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of, is Terra Cresta. Yeah, because it was out on the NES too, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. I got confused. But yeah, so I guess Soul Cresta is the sequel. Terra is ground. Soul is star. Oh! So that's it for everything tonight. Yeah, sorry I didn't do the collection streams for the last 2 weeks. It wasn't like a personal thing. I actually had stuff going on. Like I the first week when I actually posted about not being able to do it, I ended up staying at work until 10 o'clock that night. I didn't get home until 10 o'clock. So like I had a work thing. And then last week, one of my friends from Minnesota, Cardboard Zero, was going to visit from Thursday to Sunday. So I was like, I'm not going to be able to do a stream because I'm going to be hanging out with him. Well, it turns out that on Tuesday, his flight got canceled because they had 2 feet of snow in Minnesota, and the flight got canceled for that. And I just was not. I was like kind of like I'd done all these things to prep for him coming, and then it wasn't happening. I was just like, man, I'm not in the mood to stream tonight. I'm just not going to do it. So yeah, that was the reason I wasn't going to stream originally, was because I was going to have company, and then I just didn't feel like doing it anyway, because I could have done it last week, but I chose not to. But I'm back on the schedule. I'll be back on Thursday with the first of my Sega Dreamcast collection streams, followed by a short on Friday. The short that I released last week, everybody, the one that was all about the Nintendo 3DS games that you should have, that thing exploded. Like the first day I uploaded it, it was like 60 views. Like at the end of the night, it was like 60 views, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. This is gonna be another one that kind of maybe peaks at 200 views. That's like the most of mine get. And then the next morning I check and it's like 684. I'm like, somebody passed it around. 3DS seems to be a trending thing now. I don't know why, but I don't know. It's cool. I'm like, one of my videos took off. Yay. So I'll have another one I need to get a drink, and I need to blow my fucking nose. I'll have another one ready for a Friday morning, and then I'm possibly going to release the 3rd episode of Tides of Flame to YouTube next weekend. What's up, Peter? You're back, and I'm done. So keep an eye out for all those things. Like I said, I'll be back on Thursday for the Dreamcast stream, and I will talk to you all later. Do you see Android Assault here, Neo Genesis? Do you see it? Do you see? Actually, it's down there. Oh, man. Okay, so I will talk to you all later. Yep, closing things down. Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe out there. I'll talk to you hopefully on Thursday. Chris, the old-ass retro gamer, out! See, I prove you. I show you.